Well, today we're going to talk about the Granberg Alaskan chainsaw mill. If you've been with the channel for a while, you've seen me use this in the past, and we have a perfect opportunity at this moment to use it again. My wife Dee Dee wants to do some floating cedar shelves in the cabin, so we went to the lumber yard, didn't find quite what we wanted. Cedar's still pretty expensive. I needed to take this tree down behind me anyways that was dying, so perfect opportunity to break out the chainsaw mill and mill up some boards. So there's a few tools that we're going to be using today. Obviously the chainsaw mill. We're going to use a ladder to get our first flat cut. And I've got some U-bolts that I've cut wedges into that will pound in to hold the ladder in place. Let's get milling. So this is a 3-foot Granberg mill. I have a 3-foot bar that I use for milling bigger stuff at the moment, but I got a 2-foot on there. That's enough to fit over the ladder and work going down it. So I'm just leaving the 2-foot bar on there for now. Pretty simple setup. This is the guide that runs along your flat surface. Just clamp in the bar front and top. Just make sure not to pinch your sprocket on the end on this side. And that's pretty basic. It's very simple, but it's very effective. And then just to adjust the depth of the cut, we undo the U-bolts here. This slides up and down on our posts and gives us the size slab we need. The first one will be pretty high because I'm going to be starting to work my way down in the depth of the ladder plus a little bit. So we'll get this adjusted and then we'll go cut. So I just run the same pitch on my chains for no matter what I'm doing. I don't run a special one for milling because I don't spend that much time doing it. You know, we've milled up beams for the cabin, center posts, for spiral stairs, that sort of stuff. But I just find it simple just to run the same chain for everything. It's kind of funny the difference between, you know, cross-cutting through a log and making, you know, nice big chips. And then when you're milling, it's just like powder that comes out. So I've never run a different pitch with the mill before, so I don't know if it changes the chips coming out, but kind of funny. I came over and just tested the chain, make sure it's nice and sharp over here before starting milling, and I was throwing big chips. Go over and plop it onto the sawmill, and it's making dust because of the difference in cutting through the wood. So I found it interesting. Well, there you go. It's that simple, very easy to use, the Alaskan chainsaw mill. I love it. We milled up beams in our cabin. We milled up a center post for the circular stairs in there. We also milled the beams for our porch. So the tree behind me had needed to come down anyways. It was dead. I have a pump house right here, power line right here, cabin over there, and it was in danger of hitting any of these. So I had to go ahead and drop it anyways. And rather than just cutting it all up for firewood, I figured I'm in need of some cedar anyways. Let's go ahead and slab up some chunks here. So got some nice cedar slabs cut up. We're gonna use those in the cabin for floating shelves in the kitchen. It's been a little while since I used the Alaskan chainsaw mill, but feels good to get it out again and let it feed on some timber. The most important thing to remember is just to make yourself a good solid first cut, because each cut thereafter will follow it. So if you're just using a board that's kind of flexing and floating with the tree, you might end up with a whole bunch of boards that look like that. So make sure your very first cut is nice and flat. As you saw, I used a ladder. That's a very simple way. There's other things you can use as well, but I have a ladder anyways, might as well use it for my first cuts. So I think that's it. Hope you guys have a great day. We'll see you on the next one.